Do you know what time it is? Let's make another battery. This video is sponsored by our partners at PCBWAY. More on them later. All right, as you know, we've been making battery products now for a long time, and we've been using PCBs to make bus bars. Why? Well, because they are cheap, but they can carry a lot of current, and they make it really easy for you to make and DIY a battery, right? And so that's why we're doing it. So we've been making pretty much every configuration for the LEV60 battery. These are very high quality Japanese batteries, put out a lot of power, and they're affordable. And so that's the reason why we're doing this, right? I started with the simple one, the 4S like this, to make them into 12 volts. But then people were like, hey, how about can you make one that's double so that I can use 8 cells? No problem, made that. Hey, how about instead of long, can you make one that's skinny? Or, you know, fat like this so you can fit it in this type of car or whatever. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Hey, how about making it 24 volts for all the people that are doing energy storage? No problem, we'll do an 8 cell in series. We could do that, the same thing, fat, skinny, the ones that are only 8 cells, the ones that are 16 cells. At this point, we're like hitting every configuration that is possible with these batteries. But I still haven't done a video for the 5 cell one, right? And so this video is that. So we're gonna design the PCB, then we're gonna build one, we're gonna make it available open source, because this is a DIY channel that promotes DIY and open source projects. And so all these are gonna be open source. You can go and download the file so you can print your own. I'll give you links to where you can buy all the connectors and all the nuts and all the stuff that you need to make this battery, right? But first, to the drawing board. Here's our software that we use to create these PCBs, right? There's a bunch of different ones. You can get all kinds of free ones. This one is a free one. You can find it online. And here is the board already partially done. And the reason why it's partially done is because, well, at this point we've done them and it's so easy to make them, right? So we just took and copied the 4S, and then we just added a 5 cell, and then we just moved things around, right? These are, you can get them, like I said, for every configuration, the 4S, the 4S times 2, which is 8S, and then this one 5S right here. So all we did was added, these are the copper pads, the copper layers right here, and this is what's gonna conduct the electricity. So this is the most positive here, and then it conducts to the next cell, and then it goes through this cell, and then it connects to this cell, and then it goes through this cell, and just like that, right? And so now you have your positive over here, now you have your negative over here. These holes right here are so that you can put terminal blocks. We have some terminal blocks that are linked right here. There's links to all those in here, and then you can screw them in here. And the reason why there's so many screw holes here is because at this point now we've had several versions of those blocks, and depending on which Chinese factory makes them, then, you know, some of them will have 2 holes, some of them will have 4 holes like this. Sometimes we add a third one in here so that we can have more, you know, just so they could secure them better. And sometimes we add 2 more holes, or which one, I don't know, we add some of these. So when you get these blocks, you're gonna have extra holes. Now you can take the decision to drill them and tap them, and then so you can use better screws, right? Now we also use aluminum plates, and this is the outline of those so that it can carry more. These batteries can put out quite a lot of power, like 600 amps, but you might not need 600 amps, right? If your application is just like 100 amps, or you're only gonna do like, you know, I don't know, a couple 100-watt system, audio system, or, you know, a load that is, you know, you're gonna power a light that runs on 16 volts nominal, and, you know, only need 100 watts. You don't need to like use big, beefy reinforcements on these. This 2 layers, the upper and the lower, right? So this is the lower layer, and this is the upper layer of copper, 1 ounce copper. It's capable of carrying about 100 amps continuous, right? And it'll get warm, but it won't, like, you know, get hot. And so this is enough to do. But if you need more than that, 200 amps continuous, right, for example, which the cells can do, then yeah, you use another few more layers. We sell these little bus bars that are in this shape right here, also in 1 ounce copper PCB. So you can add more layers of PCB on top of this. Or you could do the aluminum ones that go in here, and then you can do all the way to the 600 amps, you know, 300, 400 amp continuous that the cells can do. They definitely can do them, even though the data sheet on these say that it's 180 continuous. But we've tested them to like 200, 300 amps, and they get warm, but they don't get super hot. The internal resistance of these cells is super low. And so these are very, very high quality that, in my opinion, these are, you know, underrated. The factory ratings on these are conservative, right? And so they can do better than what is stated on the rating. And so that's the reason why these cells are so amazing, so cool, and that's why we're making all these products for them. So there you go. Now that you have all these here, because we drew it for you, right? This is open source. You can download this file right here and print them. And you, by the way, you can also, there's a way that you can get some of these files and you can modify them. I don't know how to do it. I haven't figured out how to do it, but there are some people that have done it. So there's a way. If you really need to do that, then, you know, or if you know the way, post it in the comments of this video so that the rest of us can learn. Now, here's a 3D version of this. That's what the board will look like. These holes here, because these, there's some stuff that protrudes off of the positive, let's see. Yeah, off of the positive side of each cell. So that hole is there for that, so that it could sit flat. And then obviously this connector here has, it's a connector that goes to all of the center taps, right? All the balance leads of all the cells. Here are the 5 cells in series, the anode and the cathode. Here's, right, they're right here. And then so that you don't have to run wires to every single one of these terminals, then they run into this IDC socket connector. And these are very popular. We've been using them for a long time. You can then run multiple of these batteries in parallel, and then you can just parallel this, and now all the cells are also in parallel with all the other ones. So it becomes, you can make multiple of these batteries into one battery by just connecting some of these cables, right? This connector over here is gonna be for your balancer. If you're using this battery to run a high power audio system for your car, then usually it's not feasible to run a high power BMS. It all costs more than the battery, and it's way bigger than the battery. So what these people, what the audio community has been doing for a long time is they've been using just balancers, and they make balancers. So the reason they exist is because there's a need for them, and you can use them, and you don't have to have a full-fledged BMS sometimes. If you know what you're doing, in this case, you're using new cells. They're all pretty much the same, right? The variance between one cell and the other one's not huge, so then you could just get away with just using a little balancer. We recommend the Badco BG-8S because this balancer has a little screen and it tells you what the cell's voltage are, and then it has a little button that you click and then it'll balance, and it'll show you when the balance is done. So it gives you a bunch of different settings, and it's kind of high end when it comes to balancers. Most other balancers in the market are just little boxes that you connect in there. You don't know if they're working or not. You don't know when they're melted, when they failed. This one gives you all kinds of information. It's very useful for that case. So now that this is what the board is gonna look like, let's order it. And to order it is very simple. You can download this file, order it in any of the online market shops that sell PCBs. And one of our favorite one here is PCBWAY, and the reason is because, well, they're sponsored of this channel. They actually help us make these, and they have a community-based place where you can share your projects. And so this is that, right? If you click here, I have a bunch of these projects that I'm sharing. How many of them? I don't know how many of them, but these are all our projects. And here's the one that we're doing today. So you can download all these files and then print them yourself, or you can order them directly from this website. Here, you just add it to the cart, and then you just have to go through a bunch of these parameters. You can choose the color, you can choose the thickness, you can choose how many layers. In this case, the design is for 2 layers, right? But there's one design, and then the thickness, this is the standard one here, but you could go thicker if you wanted to. You can go thinner if you wanted to. The thickness of the copper traces, right? 1 ounce copper right here will do 100 amps. If you want to do 200 amps, you just choose 2 ounce copper, right? And then you don't have to get the other layers that we have. Now, you could also get the 1 ounce copper here and then order those other little things from us if you want to use just the regular PCB one, base ones, right? Or the aluminum ones. So I guess here it tells you how much it's gonna cost. So the minimum you can order is 5, and it'll be a total of 79, right? You can order urgent if you like definitely need to have them like today or tomorrow, or you know, in a couple days or something. These come from China, but they have expedited 24-hour turnaround time sometimes on some of this stuff. So once you pay for the shipping, then it's gonna be about $108 for 5. So about $20 per these board. Now there's also, you know, you could do that, right? And there's also, if you only need one, if you're gonna buy 5 or more or 10 or whatever, you want to make a bunch of these batteries, this is the cheapest way you can get it, because now you're getting it straight from the source, right? But if you just want one battery or whatever, then I will have a link to this also in the video where you can just go and download it from our website. We've ordered them from PCBWAY, and then we stock them on our website, and then you can just get them there, and then you can build your battery. But once you do that, then you can put your battery together. And I'm not gonna show too much about building these, because at this point I've done it 20 times and they're all the same and they're super simple. So by looking at one that's already made, you should be able to see it. How do I know that? Because this is how we've been doing it. And so let's go to the table, then I can show you one that's already built. All right, and here is our battery. So these cells right here, if you buy them from us, they'll come already with these nuts, and these are flange serrated nuts. So that means you don't have to use a washer. You put them in there, they don't back themselves out, right? So if you buy them from us, they'll have this. If you buy them anywhere else, you'll have to buy the nuts. And I might have a link in here so you can find them if you need them, but all you would need is the little connector, the green connector, and then this is optional only if you want to put a bunch of them together and then connect them in parallel and stuff. All right, so with that, I'd say thank you for joining the DIY battery projects, for using our products to build your DIY projects, and for supporting PCBWAY. Believe it or not, there's quite a lot of people still building DIY batteries, even though you could just go and buy batteries at Amazon.com or at eBay or any of the websites. Sometimes DIY is the only way to get the battery that you need, and sometimes it's the cheapest and the best way to get stuff done, right? So thank you for supporting all our DIY crazy projects that we're doing over here, okay? See you guys on the next one. Bye.
What am I doing in your VW split window bus?
This VW bus conversion is so legit now. We've made so many upgrades, power steering. This is so nice and smooth. I give this my total stamp of approval.